Today we want to cover a few key security items, the what, the how, and what happens if they are successful. First, we want to talk about phishing attacks. A phishing attack happens when a hacker impersonates someone you know, which could be a coworker, client, vendor, or even a family member. The victim will receive an email from a quote-unquote known source with either a shared file to open, a URL to click on, an attachment to open, or simply just asking for a response. These attacks don't happen just via email, they also happen via phone call or text message as well. A trend we are seeing drastically increase over the last year is hackers are using online content to do research before sending their phishing attempts to help improve success. This could be looking on sites like LinkedIn, your company website, Facebook, or other social media sites that have personal or corporate data tied to them. One example of this is a hacker will go to your LinkedIn profile, find the company you work for, look at your job title. They'll take your job title and make a fake email signature, and then they'll look at your LinkedIn connections for that company and find somebody in the HR department. They'll send that person an email with your fake email signature, and they'll ask for your direct deposit to be changed to a different bank account, trying to steal your money. Here's some typical information that can be gathered in 5 minutes or less when you're online. So if you look on your company website, typically it could have something like your name, title, photo, email address, which would allow them to then pivot to your LinkedIn. And typically on LinkedIn, it has things like name, title, years of service, past job and title, your connections of people you may know, college attended, and maybe even the degree you earned. And then as you look at other social media sites, typically these are more personal bits of information, but it might be who your family members are, your birthday, wedding date, etc. All this information may seem minor, but as you add it all together and put them breadcrumbs together, they're using all this information to create more realistic campaigns with your company or personal information included to make it seem more real, again, to increase their success rate. And so here's an example of a phishing attempt. What you can see on this is, first, if we look at the email address, you can see that the display name looks right. It says Microsoft, but when I actually look at the email address by clicking on the display name, it says email-records.com. So they can hide the display name. Typically, you can see that the email address is going to be inaccurate. The other thing to look at is if you ever receive an email from Bob Smith, who works internally at the company, but it has this external banner on it, that means that it's not from that person. So anytime you see an email with external email or a banner like that, it means the email came from outside the organization. So it's a good red flag. And then the other thing that we see in this email multiple times, high severity, severity high, is a sense of urgency. Typically, when they do these campaigns, they have a fear factor built into it to try to get you to not think about it and just take some immediate action and fall for their phishing attempt. So if you see those signs, definitely have heightened awareness. We see on this slide a email from a known source, but it's an unexpected email. If you ever receive an email from a known source, but you're not expecting it, don't click on it. And if you're unclear, call the contact number you have on file. Don't call the number in the email signature or email the person back. So what is happening is they're sending out campaigns. They're getting people to click on, say, the open button here or the Excel spreadsheet. That's prompting for a username and password. Once you enter your username and password, they now have access to your email account and your contacts and previous emails. And then they're sending out email blasts to all those individuals to expand their net and gain more usernames and passwords. And they'll change the email signature so the phone number in it is incorrect. They'll also set up email rules, so any emails that come back inside or back to you reroute to the deleted items folder and get marked as read, so you have no idea that somebody's reaching back out saying, hey, I received this weird email, is it legit or not? It's never going to hit your radar. So the best thing to do is pick up the phone and call the number you have on file. Again, not the number in the email signature, and do not email that individual back. So what happens if you fall for it? One, they'll insert themselves into your email combos to try and redirect any payments or steal information. So they'll cut you out of that. They'll redirect your emails to deleted items folder or RSS feed and mark it as read, so you'll have no idea. And then they'll act as you and try to get anything redirected or any data that they can take from it. They'll email everyone on your contact list a malicious link to try to widen their reach. Like I had mentioned before, they'll send that out to cast that larger net to try to get additional usernames and passwords, which they'll gather and then sell on the dark web for a fee. They'll install a keylogger on your computer, which will allow them to capture your keystrokes, also stealing data. They'll encrypt your files, asking for a ransomware payment. They'll access your 365 portal, steal your data, listed for sale, on the dark web, or threaten to publish it for PR impact with the goal of, again, getting paid. So a question would be, what would be the impact to your organization if someone were to get into your files or email? Do you store sensitive info that if leaked could be a PR nightmare? Do you have any social security or bank account numbers that create a large risk area? We need to remember that these hacking groups are ran as a business or state-sponsored group. They're not just some guy randomly in a basement. They actually have a full org chart, direct reports, managers. They're ran just like a normal organization, corporation is. If you do fall for a phishing attempt, make sure to contact us right away so we can remediate the risk quickly. So if you click on a link and realize that, oh shoot, that wasn't a good link, or that wasn't a good file to click on, or I did this and I entered my username and password, but something just seems off, please pick up the phone and call 855-767-2571 so we can investigate and shut it down right away. So what can we do to protect against phishing attempts? One, make sure MFA is turned on for all personal and business websites. Anything that's an online portal that's only protected by username and password is a high risk area. Stay up to date on security awareness training. Limit what you expose online. That's business-wise and in your personal life. Like we showed earlier, in 5 minutes of doing some research, we were able to gather enough information to put together breadcrumbs that would create a pretty effective phishing campaign. And then just make sure you slow down. Look at the display name versus the email address. Check the external banner. Look for a sense of urgency, grammatical errors, and then just attachments or links that you're not expecting. And at the end of the day, trust your gut. If it seems off, I would default to deleting it. If somebody's really trying to get a hold of you, they're going to reach back out. Another item we want to cover is social engineering. So social engineering is manipulating human behavior to gain access. This could come from someone that is acting as a client, a friend, a bank, using your personal information against you. The goal is to gain access to sensitive info and ultimately, again, like the phishing campaign, make money. An example of this would be you receive a text message from your bank saying that due to recent security events in the news, we are working to verify clients' account information. We will be sending you a text message. Please respond back to this message with the code you received so that we can make sure your account info is still accurate. Not responding could lead to accounts being deactivated. This method is used when they have your username and password, but need the MFA code to proceed. Once you respond to that message, they're in your bank account and will wire money out. Social engineering is becoming worse now that AI is in place with voice and call attacks. So a hacker calls person A in the scenario we'll say is Bob and records the combo with Bob, puts together an AI talk track. Hacker then calls person B, we'll say is Sally, but they spoof Bob's cell phone number so the call shows as Bob's cell number, and they use the AI generated recording to get Sally to take some action. What can we do to protect against an attack like this? One thing I would ask is, what processes do you have in place to verify a person is who they say they are? That could be from a donor, client, vendor. What process do you have in place for moving money, wiring money inside your bank account? And then internally, how do staff verify the ask is coming from a real person? In your personal life, it may seem far-fetched, but it's recommended to have a keyword. AI is a great tool for a lot of uses. Unfortunately, it's making the hackers a lot more effective and efficient. And then at the end of the day, it comes down to limiting what is shared online, because again, anything they find online, they're going to put together and use against you. Well, I appreciate everybody taking the time to sit through this video. Hopefully it was beneficial. If you have any questions, please reach out to me directly. Email address is on this slide. Thank you and have a great day.